I need to tell you something. It was such a simple sentence. But the hesitation in her voice said everything before she even spoke another word. Her fingers twisted together, her eyes darted away, and her lips parted like saying it out loud might physically hurt. Then, with the next breath, my world shattered. She had been seeing someone else. Not a mistake. Not a fleeting lapse in judgment. It had been going on for months. I felt everything and nothing all at once. A gut-wrenching blow mixed with a strange, numbing calm. I looked at the person I had once thought I knew, and for the first time, she felt like a stranger. She was waiting for my reaction, bracing for an explosion, for me to shout, demand explanations, maybe even fight for her. But in that moment, I realized there was nothing left to fight for. So I didn't. I stood up, grabbed my keys, and said just one word. Okay. No screaming. No accusations. No desperate attempt to hold together something that had already shattered beyond repair. I walked away. That same night, I packed a bag, left the apartment we had shared, and disappeared from her life as if she had never existed in mine. No calls. No messages. No glances over my shoulder. At first, she lingered in my mind. The way she used to laugh, the way she held my hand like she'd never let go. But then I'd remember the way she looked at me that night, like I was nothing more than an inconvenience, something to be discarded. And the pain turned into resolve. I wasn't going to be the man who begged. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. A year passed. I rebuilt myself, new city, new job, new life. Then she found me. It started with a text, a number I didn't recognize, but deep down, I knew exactly who it was. We need to talk. I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. I had erased her number, but some things you don't forget. I could have ignored it, could have blocked her, could have kept living my life as if she were nothing but a ghost. But curiosity is a funny thing. So I replied. Why? A few minutes later, my phone buzzed again. I just need to see you. Please. She didn't deserve a second of my time. She didn't deserve anything from me. But I wanted to see it. The regret. The weight of her choices. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. When I walked into the cafe, I barely recognized her. She sat there, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't touched, shoulders slumped, face hollowed out by sleepless nights. This wasn't the carefree woman who once told me she needed something new. This was someone drowning in regret. Her lips parted when she saw me, as if she was struggling to find the right words. You look good, she whispered. I smirked. I know. Her eyes flinched at my cold response. I needed to see you, she said hesitantly. I've thought about you every single day. I leaned back, arms crossed. Really? I raised an eyebrow. Because the day I walked out, I don't think you gave me a second thought. She shook her head quickly, her hands trembling. I made a mistake, she admitted, voice breaking. I thought I wanted something else. I thought. She exhaled shakily, staring down at the table. I don't even know what I was thinking. But when you left, I realized I had thrown away the best thing in my life. She reached across the table, her fingers trembling. Please, she whispered, just tell me there's a chance. For the first time, I smiled, because now I knew she was drowning in the regret she created. She had been so sure I would come crawling back, waiting for her like a forgotten souvenir she could pick up whenever she wanted. But I hadn't. And now, she was the one sitting here, desperate for something that no longer existed. I let the silence stretch, watching as the confidence in her eyes faded into something else. Desperation. She wanted me to say something, anything to undo the past. But I had nothing left to give her. Finally, I leaned forward, resting my hands on the table. You wanted freedom, I said calmly. You got it. Her breath hitched. She knew what was coming. I know, she whispered, tears slipping down her face. But I didn't know what I was losing. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. That's the problem, I said. You only realized my worth when I was gone. I met her gaze and held it. And now it's too late. Her face crumbled. She opened her mouth, ready to beg, to plead, to fight for me. But I was already standing up.